Alright, hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Casey, and today's reading is all about what will help you reach success in your career path. Now, success can look like whatever it looks like in your mind. It's going to be different for everybody because everybody's version of success looks slightly different. For some of you, maybe your version of career success looks like getting a raise to a certain amount of money. Or maybe it looks like working in a specific office building in town that you just think is like, that is the place to be. For others, maybe it's financial freedom. Maybe it's your business finally takes off. Or if you're a content creator, maybe it looks like reaching a certain number of views or subscribers. So that is what today's video is about. It's all about what will help you reach career success, what will help point you in the right direction. I truly believe in divine timing, and I want to think of it kind of like an analogy where the wind will blow when it blows. The universe will decide when the time is right, but it's up to you to keep your boat pointed in the right direction. And my goal today is to help you steer in the right direction. What direction should you be pointed in? What should you do next? What habits are going to be good habits? What habits are going to be bad habits? What will help keep you pointed in the direction of reaching the success that you want to reach? So that is what today's reading is going to be all about. I have 3 different piles for you to choose from. We have pile 1 with the apple card and the blue lace agate. We have pile 2 with the tortoise card and the, I think this is green aragonite. And then pile 3 with the forest card and the blue dumortierite. So go ahead and pause, figure out which reading you feel most drawn to. There will be timestamps down in the description box below so you can quickly jump to whichever reading that you want to listen to. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, pile 1. If you chose the blue lace agate, then this is the reading for you. I want to just start off by saying that the lighting is really weird today, so it might go from being really dark to really light randomly. I'm going to do my best to hopefully counteract that, but today the cards that we have here for you are, the majority of them are very good signs that you will be reaching the career success that you're looking for. I think especially financially, because you have the abundance card and the Knight of Wands. That's a clear sign, and I'll get into that. So if what you're worried about is the amount of money you're going to be making, I do see in the future you will be reaching the sort of financial goals that you have set for yourself. And you also have the 4-leaf clover card, which talks about great good fortune. I mean, that's another sign that there is good fortune coming your way. But what else I'm seeing here has to also do with your family life or your personal life. For some reason, the cards are showing me that your career success or your financial success is heavily influenced by your family life or your work-life balance. And I'm just going to give you the thing I'm picturing in my mind. I'm picturing two different men for some reason. You don't need to be a man, but I'm picturing 2 different men. One of them doesn't really have the support of his family. So he wakes up tired, maybe he didn't get a good night's rest because him and his wife were arguing, and maybe his kids are mad at him, so he has all these things on his mind, and maybe he gets cut off on the road and he's like super upset, and then he finally gets to his job and then he's just in a foul mood and he doesn't really want to be around anybody, he's not working well with people, and so his career starts to falter because of it. Now the other man I'm picturing, he has a great relationship with his family. He has a proper work-life balance. Because of that, he has the support of his family. He has the support of, his wife, his kids. I don't know why I'm picturing, whoa. A hummingbird just came up to my window, but like right up to like the window pane, like its head was like right there. They've never done that. That's so interesting. Like, it's very rare that I'll even see birds, but, like, it actually freaked me out. Like, it was right up on the window. Like, it was almost looking through the window. I don't know if hummingbirds are a sign for you. Honestly, lately when I've been talking about hummingbirds, I talk a lot about how hummingbirds remind me of people that can't sit down. They're constantly busy. They're constantly distracting themselves, and they don't really know how to have a proper work-life balance. And that's honestly something that I've been trying to work on myself. Is not necessarily having the inability to sit down, but the inability to break out of schedule and structure. I'm somebody that really prides myself on being very disciplined. I keep to a very structured weekly schedule where, I have my days exactly planned out, and if I wanted to do something like camping or going on a trip or doing something spontaneous, it stresses me out because I have to mess up my schedule, and I feel like that could be something that you've done to yourself is you're so disciplined. You care so much about success, and that's great. You're somebody who's very driven, but maybe it's starting to make your family life suffer or your friendships suffer if you're no longer able to have that side of life that's balanced. Because the thing is, we can't just always have family time and friend time and time to ourselves planned out and scheduled. Sometimes our body needs it when it's time to go to work. Sometimes our body or our mind or our spirit needs it when we have pre-existing plans. We can't plan out when the inspiration will strike us or the spontaneity will strike us, because that's the thing about spontaneity. And what I see for you is something that's really going to benefit you in reaching career success and doing better in your career is having the backing and loving support of family, of friends, of your spouse or your kids, knowing that they are happy, knowing that you're not just providing for them financially, but also emotionally, knowing that at the end of the day, you can go home to them and feel happy and excited that you're going home to them is also going to make you wake up in the morning and want to be that much more driven towards all your goals. And I feel like it's something that people often overlook is because we don't see how interwoven all the different parts of our life are. I think something Spirit just wants to direct you to is, hey, maybe if you spent some time being a little bit more spontaneous and saying, you know what, it's okay to take a day off here and there. It's okay to just do something for the fun of it, to just allow myself to have a free day where I can just go to the beach, get some sunshine, give back to myself, and remember what it's like to live as a person that's not burdened by schedules and meetings and emails and work. It can remind you that life is about a lot more than just what we're working towards. And it's those little reminders that are that little burst of turbo in our gas tank that's going to make us go even further than we would have before. And so I want you to see how your work-life balance can actually benefit your work life, if that makes sense. I know it's a simple concept, but oftentimes it can be one of the hardest things for people to do, especially if you would consider yourself a workaholic or somebody who's really into keeping a tight schedule, kind of like me. But the next things that I see here are all pertaining to your career, but that's just an important part that I wanted to hit on the head right away. So the other things that I'm seeing, you have the month of June card that came out. There could be an interesting opportunity happening for you in June. Career-wise, it could be an opportunity to travel for a work event comes up, or there's a networking thing, or maybe you get offered a new position, or maybe there's a new career opportunity, like at a different job. But it seems like there's something happening in June that it might seem a little bit exciting, but I feel like Spirit wants you to have extra focus on it than usual, that this could be a stepping stone that leads you to that career success. Like I said in the intro, I don't know if you listened, but I want this video to kind of be like an analogy of, imagine you're on a boat, right? The universe puts wind in your sails when it's time to put wind in your sails. It will give you boosts here and there, and it will have times where things are calmer and things aren't moving as quickly. But it's your job to make sure the boat is pointed in the right direction, that you're going in the direction of success. And my goal is to help you know which direction to steer in. And I feel like one of the directions that I'm meant to guide you to or help you focus on, for some reason, is the month of June. Now, like I said, I don't know exactly what's happening in June, but there is something very important surrounding the exact kind of career success that you are trying to attain. Whether it's more money, whether it's a different job position that you've been trying to get, or a different job opportunity you've been trying to get, whatever it is, June is going to be a very important month. Now, I'm filming this in April, but you can be watching this whenever. You could be watching this 2 years from now, and it's whenever June is for you. Now, with the finger card, this talks of warning you of a problem either now or in the near future. I don't know what this problem is, because that's the only card that I have here talking about a problem. The only other thing that I could think of that this problem might be surrounding is like family life. Like if there's a big issue coming up with maybe older relatives are getting sick and you need to devote some time and energy and focus to that. Or it could be a work issue. There's that hummingbird again. It's so interesting. Weird. Anyways, maybe that's the problem. The inability to sit down might be leading you to burnout, and then that leads you to your job suffering. And then when it comes time that somebody's thinking of like, okay, who's going to get a raise? Who's going to get this new position? Well, Pile 1, they seem like they've got a lot of life issues. They seem like they're a little bit overburdened by too many things. Maybe they're not able to take on this thing. And then you don't even realize that those talks were going on, and suddenly you didn't get offered this thing. I think people put a lot of stock in the way that we come off to them and the way that we appear, not just what kind of suit you're wearing or how fancy of a dress you're wearing, but also the kind of vibe you're giving off. Are you giving off a vibe of somebody that's really burdened, really stressed out, really unhappy at home? Even if you plaster a fake smile on your face, people can sense that kind of stuff. And personality goes a long way when it comes to networking and, if you're going to get that promotion versus the other 2 or 3 people that might get the promotion. And so I just want you to keep that in mind. There might be a problem going on in your life right now that is hindering you. I really want you to take a look at not just how you're doing work-wise or intellectually, but how you're doing emotionally. How's the other half of your life? How's your love life? How's your relationship with your kids or your family? That could be playing a big part in how you're viewed in the workspace. Now, finally, with the 4-leaf clover, then the abundance card and the Knight of Wands, there's a lot of good fortune coming your way. There is a wealth of abundance that is coming your way. And I see that you are somebody that's extremely driven. And because of that drive, so long as you keep pushing, so long as you keep working hard, that good fortune, that abundance, that financial abundance is coming your way. But there are just these few things that I feel like Spirit is just trying to direct you to, trying to nudge you in the right direction. Like I said, work-life balance has a lot more importance than you might realize at this current point in time. With the Finger card, there could be one glaring problem in your life at this time that just needs a little bit more attention. And finally, with the June card, keep in mind the month of June could be really important for your career. It could be a specific opportunity, could be a specific networking event. But I think those 3 things, as long as you keep an eye on them, as long as you're actively working towards improving each of those, I think this windfall, this abundance is going to come in. Like, this is meant to come in. But like, say, if you're trying to get a promotion or a new job and you want to stand out as a candidate, personality and vibe goes a lot further than a lot of people expect. Like, maybe you think, haha, vibes are silly. But no, when a person walks into the room, you can tell right away, like, did I enjoy being around that person? Did I feel like they were giving off a good energy? Or did I feel like they were kind of sucking the energy out of the room? And how you feel in your day-to-day life has a big impact on the vibe that you give off to people, and also the first impressions that you give off. So I think just putting some stock into those things, taking care of your life and your relationships, all that is going to bolster you. And I see a lot of success in your future. I don't think you have a ton to stress out about. Just maybe taking a step back, keeping an eye on those 3 things, like I said, and you will be getting everything that you're searching for. So pile 1, that is everything that I have for you. I truly wish you the best on this journey. I think you are destined for success, but we're all human. Sometimes we got to have some checkups. Sometimes we got to work a little bit harder on things. But that's everything that I have. I truly wish you the best in everything that you do. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye. All right, pile 2. If you chose the green aragonite, then this is the reading for you. And I have got some very interesting information for you. Now, when I was going into these readings, especially the idea of a career reading, I was expecting very concrete, steps along a path towards a career that would attain success. But so far, everything that I've gotten has a lot to do with also your life. What's going on in your life, what's going on with your emotions, and how that's affecting your career path. And I think you, more than any pile, and you're only pile 2, so I don't know what pile 3 holds, but it seems like your current state of life is just greatly hindering any success that you might reach. Now, if this doesn't sound like you don't need to claim it. It might stress you out a ton. You're like, what? This doesn't sound like me. If it doesn't sound like you, it could be that you chose the wrong pile, or it could just be that this video isn't meant for you. So you can go back to the beginning and you can try a different pile. But essentially what I'm seeing here is I'm seeing somebody that I feel like you've restarted quite a few times. I feel like you've gone down certain paths and they have ended in heartache, or it just wasn't the right thing, or maybe there were no opportunities and you tried again and things just didn't work out. Maybe there was doors that were closed, and I see that there's a drive within you to succeed. I see that you have this desire to be independent and to move forward and to see what life has to offer. But you're also tired and you're angry, and I feel like life as a whole just seems like a bad situation. Now, this is like directly what I'm channeling. I don't know if there's maybe like negative relationships in your life or what it is that's holding you back. But when I look at this Ten of Swords card, I mean, right now it's reversed. So that's a good sign, actually. But when it's upright, if you want to look at it, you see this guy that's laying on the ground, face down, pinned through the back by 10 swords. Like shish kebabbed, he is stuck there. And I feel like that symbolizes you at the moment. Now, reversed, it's good because it talks about finally removing those swords and how do we get up? How do we start moving? But like I said, I don't know if these swords are supposed to symbolize relationships, maybe a toxic relationship or a person that's held you back or a person that's told you that you're not going to amount to anything or you should stay here, you shouldn't reach for more because XYZ reason and you're needed here and so don't try. Or maybe you've had people tell you, gosh, you're stupid. Oh my God, people that say things like that are so bane of my existence. Like, I am not a very vengeful person, but I don't know if you've ever watched Avatar, like The Last Airbender, but there's this place in the spirit world in their universe that is just this fog of lost souls and like people that go in there just go crazy. And I just want to push this person, whoever has ever said anything like that to you or made you feel down or like you aren't worth anything, like I just want to push them off that cliff and stick them there for 1,000,000 years so they can think about what they did. I just get really passionate about these things, especially if this was a parent, somebody that was supposed to protect you and lift you up and want you to achieve things, has instead... Anyways, what I see for you is there's a lot of unlearning that you need to do. Unlearning a lot of thought processes, the way you think of yourself, what you think you can achieve. I think your self-esteem has taken a big, big hit, and you are destined to achieve a lot. But I think there's not a lot that can be done where you are right now. I think not only do you need to break out of your shell, but I think physically you are meant to live somewhere completely different. Like in my mind, I'm picturing like you living in a completely different country or a different state or a different city. Just like making a drastic move where you can start over, you can be your own person and not have negative influences in your life. Now, I'm not saying that you couldn't get rid of these influences and learn to live a healthy, happy life despite having these influences still around, but I think it's going to be significantly easier for you to heal and make something of yourself if you're not still bogged down by the same voices that berated you and told you that you're not worth anything or told you that you can't achieve anything. I mean, it's tough to get up when you've got somebody's boot on your back, and like that's the image I'm getting in my mind. Now, what you have here is older woman, pale, and the cracked cup. Now, pale talks about time to get out of a situation. Just point blank, it's time to get out of a situation, bad life, bad place in life, bad relationship. With the cracked cup, this talks about dissatisfaction with life. And when I look at this cracked cup, you could put the cup back together, but you're still going to see the cracks. And some tea is probably still going to seep out of that cup. I think when something is cracked and broken, sometimes instead of trying to fix it, it's okay to walk away and say, you know what, I'm going to look for something new. I have tried. I have lived with this cracked, broken cup. I have held my hands together so tight so that nothing leaks out of it. But at some point, you just got to be able to let your shoulders sag and say, I don't want to hold this together anymore. It's time to look for something better. It's time to look for a new cup that's not even broken. I mean, I'm sitting here with a broken cup and a knocked over pail. No wonder you can't keep anything together. Both of these imagery is all about like liquid falling apart and like trying to keep it together. Both your containers are falling apart. And I think it's interesting here that you have the older woman card. This talks about dealings or relationships with an older woman. It could be that the negative influence in your life is your mom, though. When I was first getting these cards out, I also thought that, this is a general reading, so it is going to be slightly different for everybody. It could be that you have, your mom is a good influence in your life, and it's just time that you talk to somebody. Like, to me, this card can go two ways. For some of you, it's a sign that talking to an older woman, maybe like a therapist or a counselor or a mentor or your mom or your aunt or your grandmother, talking to them and getting life advice from them could be very healing and helpful to you along your path. For others of you, the older woman is actually the bane of your existence. Like, the older woman is the problem that we're moving away from. So I want to give you both of those ideas and just take whichever one resonates for you in your specific situation. But what I see here on the right and like I said, this is all tied into your career. I think things are all over the place right now because your life is all over the place. And like I said, with the cracked cup and the pail, I mean, that's two signs that it's time to just walk away and just start something new. The cup is cracked, the cup is broken. Instead of trying to put it together and make things happen here, instead of just, trying to beat a dead horse where you're at right now, pick up your life and move. Now, I know it's easier said than done, but I truly, truly have never felt more conviction that starting over would be supremely helpful to you. Not just life-wise, but actually career-wise as well. I think you give off a sunny kind of energy. Like, you radiate warmth. And I feel like you have been living in a place where people don't appreciate warmth. It's like living in a place where people enjoy the cold and they enjoy being sad. And so instead, you're this ball of sunshine that was never appreciated. You deserve to go to a new place where people welcome you and they see you and they're like, where have you been all my life? Like, I could have totally used a person like you in my life. Whatever you have, career interest-wise, you would be a wonderful addition to any sort of team, whether it's a creative thing and you happen to fit in really well with a group of artists. They're like, we love having you around. You're so inspiring. Or that's the word, inspiring. I think you're an incredibly inspiring person. And no matter what career you go into, that is the place you fit best in. Even if you were like a computer programmer and you're doing like code, you're making code with a bunch of other nerds, whatever computer programmers do. I feel like you are the inspiring kind of person that when people are like banging their head against their keyboard because they can't figure this thing out, like you just say the right funny thing and all of a sudden they're like, you know what? It's not that serious. You're right. And like they get back to work with a smile on their face. That is the strength that you bring to a room. And to you, it might not seem like a strength, or maybe you even look at yourself and you're like, I don't really know what I want to do with my career. I don't really know what I'm good at. What you're good at is being a beautiful ball of sunshine that inspires people, that pushes them to be better, that brings light into a room. And I feel like that is severely underappreciated in today's corporate world. It's all about, how many numbers can you run, how efficiently you can do XYZ thing. But there's actually, at the end of the day, a lot of success in a lot of different careers has to do with how strong is your team? How well do people work together? And if you can be that missing puzzle piece that can bring people together, that can inspire them, that can direct people to be like, that can be a leader or a mediator or the diplomatic one. Sometimes leadership isn't about how well you can do the job that the people are doing. Maybe you're not the best coder in the world, but being a leader is all about seeing where people's strengths are, where they would do best, and telling them the exact thing they need to hear to feel like they're doing a good job, to motivate them, to make them feel more inspired. And I feel like that is where you fit in best. And the first step to you getting any kind of career success is, first of all, getting some life success. You've been living so long in a pit of despair and anger and frustration because of these negative influences in your life. And just the place that you're in, it's time to move away from. Like, point blank period. I say this definitively. You will be so much better off when you are independent. Recently, one of my best friends went traveling to Paris, France, and she loved it there to the point that she was like, I want to move there. She was like, I don't know how it's going to happen, but I'm going to make it happen. And I did a reading for her. She asked me to do a reading, like, should I move there? Like, is it a good idea? And everything I saw in the cards is, even though she loves our hometown, even though there's a lot of great memories here, there's something amazing about starting off in a completely fresh place and having no attachments to it, no previous memories. Even though there's lots of good memories, there's also bad memories. Everybody has trauma. Everybody has bad memories. Everybody has places that they don't really like to go. And sometimes what we need is just a fresh start, to be a new face in a town where we don't know anybody. And you can be anything that you want to be. Especially with the kinds of wounds and the past that you have, what better way to restart than to just physically move yourself somewhere completely new where nobody knows you? And it might be a little lonely at first, but with you being this ball of sunshine, like, I don't think it's going to be very hard for you to meet new people. I don't think it's going to be very hard for you to find the community that you deserve. And lastly, with the Ten of Swords reversed, the Growth card and the Ideation card. Like I said, the Ten of Swords reversed is all about let's finally remove all these things that are holding us down. All this pain that has pinned us to the ground, made us feel small, everything that has held us back, it's time to remove that. You will be able to do that and more, because when I look at the Growth card and the Ideation card, it's almost like not only are you finally standing up because you finally took out all these swords, but now you're standing up and you're like, okay, now it's time to grow. Now it's time to see what our true potential is. And with Ideation, it's all about the sky is the limit. Like, I can go in any direction. I think when I look at this Ten of Swords card and how you finally get out of having all these swords in your back, having things pinning you down, it shows me you no longer having anybody that has power over you. And the way that you do that, like I said, having independence, living on your own, having your own roof over your head where you make your own rules instead of having to listen to somebody else's rules. Because once you have that freedom, I mean, it's quite literally with the Growth card, like if you take this bonsai tree that's had to grow in this tiny little pot, no wonder it's this tiny little tree. No wonder it's never really grown. But you move it out into no pot, you put it directly into the earth, and look at how big it can grow. Now, I actually don't really know about bonsai trees, but like, just in general, like if you put a plant in a really small pot, it's not going to have a lot of room to grow. But you put it in the earth, and you give it everything that it needs to survive and thrive, and it will grow as tall as it possibly can. And that's you. You just need to be planted in the earth instead of in a pot. And with the Ideation card, it's like once you're able to be free, there's going to be it's like a supernova. Like just this burst, this explosion of the sky is the limit. I can be whatever I want to be. I can go in any direction that I want to. So what I see here for you is there's not one definitive career that I see for you right now. And maybe that stresses you out because you're like, that's the only answer I wanted, woman. I didn't need this long lecture. But truly, I think there will be so much success that you reach. And not just success, but adventure. But it all starts by you finally being independent and finally having the freedom to grow and actually find, who do you want to be? What do you want to do? Because if you don't know right now, you're probably not going to know if you just stay in the same place and you don't really experience anything new. You got to get away from the bad. You got to get away from the old. Start off in somewhere new. And I promise you, there's so much for you to discover. And there is so much success to be had. And a whole lot of adventure, which I think over time is going to mean a lot more to you than quote-unquote success ever will. So, Pile 2, I'm going to leave you there. I really hope that you found this reading when you need it the most, and I truly wish you the best on your journey. But that is everything that I have. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye. Alright, Pile 3, last but certainly not least. If you chose the blue Dumortierite, then this is the reading for you. Now, I've got some pretty interesting stuff for you here today. What I see is, to put it plainly, whatever business venture you're on, or whatever you're doing career-wise, you would reach a lot more success on your own. And I think for the majority of you that this will resonate with, I see that you might be in business with like a business partner, or maybe even your romantic partner or a friend or a family member. Maybe the two of you, or maybe more, thought it would be best if you guys worked together. But then you realize, just because you get along together friends-wise or family-wise doesn't mean you're necessarily going to be great business partners together. And maybe you've been butting heads a lot, and maybe it's leading to a lot of disagreements and a lot of stress, and I think things should be done this way, and I think things should be done this way, and before you know it, the relationship is just completely changed. And more often than not, I see that romantic partners, spouses, or even friends that go into business together, years down the line, they're no longer friends. Or maybe they get divorced, or maybe their relationship is just completely different, because business takes a big toll on relationships, especially if you both have different ideas about how things are meant to work out. And even if the two of you weren't really super close, maybe you were just, I don't know, in the same business class, or maybe you both had the same kind of good ideas. So you're like, hey, maybe we should do it together. Maybe, two heads is better than one. what I'm seeing here is, I mean, I'm sure you can feel it, that there isn't the best synergy between the two of you. But what I'm seeing here is parting ways is actually better. It's better for you, maybe even better for them. Maybe the two of you go different ways and you guys each do things your way, and maybe one of you fails, maybe the other doesn't. But for you, I truly think that you will be better on your own. I think also you've known that this breakup or this parting of ways was going to be happening soon anyway. I mean, I think you could just tell that things were off. You two are butting heads and things were just not working the way that they're meant to. I feel like there might even be, whether it's already come up or it's about to come up, there's gonna be one final thing that maybe it's not the biggest thing in the world. Like maybe the power goes out while you're trying to figure something out and that just sets everything off. And then that's like the final straw that you need that literally breaks the camel's back. I think it's interesting because you have a camel here, but I mean, that's basically the first main point is it's time to break this thing apart. It's not going to work out there's too many cooks in the kitchen. It can't work out with you guys working together. I think it needs to be a solo endeavor for both of you. And it might be tough because it might look like they retain the rights or they retain okay, for instance, my girlfriend's mom and her mom's friend, they were pretty good friends, but then they both co-owned this restaurant that they both ran. And by the end of it, let's just say they no longer work together, and it was a painful process watching all of that unfold. But it was for the best because my girlfriend's mom finally went on her own career path, and instead of running that, she's now becoming a nurse. And you know what? Before that restaurant, she was a hairstylist, so she jumped around from thing to thing, but she's doing great now. And all this to say, I thought of that when I'm thinking of you. Whatever direction you go in next, it's going to lead you to success. But this right here, holding on to this, I don't think it's worth it. I mean, it's draining you, it's draining this person, and it's not going anywhere. And what sucks is you might be the one that has to walk away from the restaurant, for instance, and they still own the restaurant and you're on your own and now you have to figure out what to do next. And there's that awkward period of, I don't really know what to do next, and God, why did I have to be the one to walk away? Trust me, walking away is so much better than trying to beat that dead horse, okay? And you know what? Maybe they might reach success. That doesn't matter. What matters is what's best for you and what's going to help you achieve success, and staying in on this thing isn't helping you. It's not going to achieve the success that you want. And when I look at the camel card, it says persevere and you will overcome problems. When I look at that, I'm looking at this camel that is overburdened with weight. You might walk away from this and all of a sudden you have a ton more burdens because whatever you're trying to do, you don't have another person to shoulder it with anymore. And that sucks because, before, if you had an issue, you could hand it off to this other person that you used to be business partners with. You can't do that anymore. You're going to have to figure things out on your own. You're going to have to learn how to do everything on your own. And it's going to suck at first, but when you can learn to do all of it, it's going to make you so much more capable. And also, you're going to be the one that gets to make the creative decisions for yourself. Now, finally, with the lightning card here, this one says control your anger or you will be sorry. I think the best thing that you can do is not wait for a moment that you two are blowing up in each other's faces and just mad at each other and saying things that you'll regret or getting into a legal battle, especially not the latter part, especially not getting into a legal battle over things. The best thing that you can do is walk away while things are still okay, before things get nasty, before you start throwing words around that you can't take back, before, like I said, things take a legal turn and all of a sudden both of you are losing a ton of money. Don't let the storm start. If you start hearing the rumbles of thunder, it's time to go hands off. It's time to walk away. Don't wait until the last moment when you're in the thick of the hurricane to try to be like, okay, now I want out. Like, okay, no. I'm telling you right now, the best thing that you can do is walk away before it devolves to a point of no return. Because you don't know how ugly things can get when it comes to business and money matters being involved. You don't know just how low people are willing to go when money and lawyers are involved. And what I see with the Justice card and the Confidence card, I truly think you are completely capable of achieving success with whatever the idea is in mind. Like, let's go with the restaurant example for some reason. Let's say one of you had an aesthetic direction that you wanted to take things and the other had an aesthetic direction they wanted to take things. Let's say one person wanted to make the restaurant more fancy and one person wanted to make it more casual. And let's say they wanted to make it fancy and you wanted to make it casual. Maybe they were like, well, if we go fancy, we can jack up the prices and things will be so much better. But you were like, well, if we're casual, we can get a lot more customers and it's a lot more accessible to a lot more people, so we could sell more. You guys butted heads. Eventually, you're like, okay, I'm just going to walk away. You do your thing. It's your restaurant now. I'm going to do my own thing. Now you have to start from scratch. Maybe it starts with a food truck. Like maybe you don't have a ton, but you stay true to what your idea is, what you're passionate about. Before you know it, frickin' Keith Lee on TikTok is reviewing your food truck and all of a sudden you have millions of people trying to get at this thing and it becomes the hottest new place. All this to say, something that is going to help you along this journey is silent confidence is going to be the best form of revenge. I feel like when things go south and you're pissed at this person, you might want to rub it in their face and be like, oh, look at how good I'm doing. But when you get that call and they're like, hey, I see you're getting a lot of success. Like, could you give me some pointers? Could you help me out? The best form of revenge for you is going to be like, hey, I'd love to stay on the line, but I got some orders to go take. And it's like, you didn't throw any words, you didn't say anything you didn't need to, but you kind of politely said, you know what? After everything, I finally reached my own success. And I'm still hands off. Let the confidence show for itself. Let justice be served on its own terms by doing you, by staying in your own lane, by staying confident in the decisions that you want to make. It might take time. And like I said, at first, your ego might take a hit because you're like, well, I'm just running this little food truck. And meanwhile, they have this fancy business. In the long run, the one that you're most confident in, the one that you have most passion in, the one that you put the most hours into is going to be the better one overall. And it doesn't even matter who's better. It matters that you are attaining the success that you desire. And I have one final point for you here. You have the Knight of Wands clarified by faith and consciousness. Now, this is a completely different side of things because this, I believe, has to do with the spiritual side of things. I don't know what your personal religious or spiritual beliefs are, but I think getting very in touch with faith that you're making the right decisions, that you're going in the right direction, being open to being guided in the direction that is for your best possible, highest good, just and feeling like you have the universe or God looking out for you in this process is going to make you a lot more confident to strive towards your goals. Because if you feel like the world is against you and you feel like your ego is throwing all these fears at you and you have all these people judging and all these people with their different opinions of, oh, maybe you should do it this way, maybe you should do it this way, it's going to be able to push you around easy. And you need to have faith in something higher if you're going to do something that's this not risky, but just there are going to be points in time where you want to give up. There are going to be points in time where you're comparing yourself to everybody in your life and you feel like, why isn't it blowing up? Why isn't things taking off? Why isn't it working? Why hasn't my business started doing big numbers yet? And you're going to have something strong to believe in to keep you going because it's going to take a lot of discipline. It's going to take a lot of resilience. I do see that you're going to get there, but I think having faith is going to substantially help you reach success and not go crazy while trying to do so. And you know what? Whether it's real or not, whether God or spirituality is real or not, doesn't matter. But it matters how it makes you feel. It matters about the strength and the confidence that it gives you. And what you need is an abundance of strength and confidence. Now, you don't necessarily need it. I think you could still reach success, but it's going to make things a hell of a lot easier if you can have a little bit more confidence in it. But yeah, I think that's everything that I have to say. I think the main point for you right now is, there's too many cooks in the kitchen. It's time for you to go out on your own. It's going to be tough. You're going to have to carry a lot of burdens on your own. You're going to have to figure out twice as much work because you're doing the work of 2 or more people. But in the end, it's going to be worth it, and it's going to be a hell of a lot easier if you don't have a bunch of different opinions and a bunch of different cooks trying to make the same dish. You know what I'm saying? So pile 3, that is everything that I have for you. I truly wish you the best. I hope that whatever your business idea is, I hope that it pops off. I truly wish you the success that you are searching for. I know you can do it. It might be a bit of a long road, but trust me, you're going to be so glad that you went independent. But that is everything that I have for you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.